Hey guys, it's Damien. How are you guys doing tonight? I have a video, of course, that I am going to answer a few questions that I've been receiving in regards to what types of foods do Amazon FBA program allow, and what are some that they prohibit based on several different factors, okay? So I'm going to cover that really quick tonight. I'm going to do about a 10 or 15 minute video. As you know, I like to keep it short and sweet and to the point. So I've had a few subscribers actually been asking me questions in regards to, hey Damien, I wanted to know, is it possible to send a certain type of product in, because I've heard stories about it has to sustain a certain amount of temperature, it can't be a product that cannot withstand a certain degree of temperature, etc., etc. Will it be detrimental to the quality of the product, etc., etc.? So let me clarify all this for you. The information I'm going to give you is information that is from Amazon. And of course, through the experience that I've had myself, there has been some items that I've had to kind of learn by doing, I guess you could say, that is good for you, that's fine for you to put in their inventory at FBA, and some that are not fine. Things that are not good and things that are obviously just not acceptable based upon Amazon's criteria for food products, okay? So I'm going to get right into it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go over 5 different aspects of food that can be put into inventory at their warehouse, okay? So, really quick, number 1, FBA, excuse me, FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, accepts meltable items between certain dates of the year. Every calendar year, excuse me, between October 1st and April 30th, they accept items that could potentially be meltable if it reaches a certain degree, okay? So, FBA, if it's a temperature-sensitive item, let's say you make chocolates, okay, and you make these beautiful truffles, and they're made of chocolate, and you want to put them in FBA, they accept it only between, excuse me, guys, October 1st through April 30th, okay? So, what that means is, anything that could melt or the quality of the product could be detrimental if it reaches a certain temperature. They don't want you to ship that to them during the time period after this, okay? Between October 1st and 30th, they do accept items that could have potential to melt, okay? If it's lollipops, let's say, and it's like a gourmet lollipop, but if it reaches a certain temperature, it could start to solidify, start to melt a little bit, possibly in the packaging. What Amazon's trying to do is to ensure that every product that they're going to inventory and keep on hand, even though they're products that you have sent to them, they want to really ensure that the customer is purchasing a product that's going to be of a great quality, and obviously something that could be used. If it's something that has to be not consumed, but it could melt, and it could be something that could be used, that it reaches the customer in perfect condition, okay? And that's kind of understandable. I think it's a great idea. A lot of companies that warehouse big products try to keep those systems, those warehouses air conditioned, so these types of things don't happen. Now, Amazon obviously does warehouse. They do air condition their facilities, but there is a certain temperature that those warehouses are kept at, and the majority of the inventory that they have there are items that are not necessarily meant to be heat sensitive. So just keep that in mind. So any dates after this, excuse me guys, between May 1st and then I believe September, the last of September, these periods, they will not. May, June, July, August, September, those are obviously the hottest months of the year, and Amazon doesn't want to take the chance of warehousing a product that could be shipped out and then a customer gets it and it's completely melted, or the quality of the product has been damaged or hindered by the fact that it's been in a warehouse or it's been in transit during hot summertime, okay? Hopefully that makes sense to you. So that's one criteria you want to keep in mind if your product happens to be heat sensitive, or if it happens to be a product that could melt. You know, if you're doing things like trail mixes, you know, granolas, if you're doing dried nuts, if you're doing salsas, if you're doing things that have been canned, professionally canned, manufactured, and if you've got the seal is proper on the top, then you don't have to worry about those types of things, okay? So, inventory that is marked, by the way, anything after April 30th, if they receive something after April 30th, it will be marked as unfulfillable, and it actually will be disposed of, okay? They actually won't, to my understanding from what I've gotten from them, is that they're not going to send that back to you. It is going to be disposed of, and normally they charge you a fee for the disposal, so you potentially could be losing out on the product itself as well as the disposal fee for them to get rid of it. Okay, so if you're doing it when it comes in after that period, after that April 30th date, they're just going to get rid of it. Okay, so just you try to be aware of of these rules and these regulations prior to, and of course that's why I do my videos, is try to inform you as much as I possibly can about the do's and the don'ts when it comes to food products. Okay, the next thing would be, this is something that a lot of viewers have actually asked me about, and one of the specific categories was frozen foods. Okay, FBA does not accept frozen foods. They will not and do not accept frozen foods. They also will not accept any product that has a requirement of refrigeration, has to be air conditioned, or it has to be frozen. Okay. That being said, what kind of products is that, Damien? What does that mean? Okay, well, things like frozen foods, things like fruits and vegetables. Also, something that was very interesting that I was unaware of, probiotics. So you may or not be familiar with these, but a lot of these probiotics that have to actually be temperature controlled and refrigerated. Some of them are supplements that have to be refrigerated and kept. Those are something that they will not FBA for you. Okay, so the idea of shipping produce, that's kind of like a no-brainer, kind of a common sense thing. But something that's interesting that a lot of people were just curious about, they've asked me, was about the frozen food aspect. They do not have facilities set up for that. So I would definitely stay away from it. Anything that is freezer related, refrigerated, okay. Fruits and vegetables, no. Anything outside of that, even like fresh meats, if you wanted to get into the meat business, for whatever cause or whatever reason that may be, they don't have the facility or the capacity to refrigerate meat and then ship it. You got to kind of look at it from this standpoint. Like if you had a facility that was a huge freezer, okay, all of those items have to be kept at a certain frozen temperature in order for it to maintain its quality and non-perishable temperatures. If you pull those products out and you're looking to ship them, of course, you could potentially ship frozen foods, but then you're getting into the expense of ice, whether it be ice packs or dry ice. And dry ice is something that's very dangerous if the recipient doesn't know how to handle the product and they touch the dry ice. It's a huge problem. So there's a lot of logistics involved with that. There's a lot of temperature sensitive items, and they just want to stay away from that. There's plenty of other products out there that you could be creating that is food related or selling and FBAing that is not going to require a temperature. So keep that in mind. All right. Cooler items, frozen foods. Now, the next thing that you want to keep in mind is any product that you send to them, it has to be able to withstand a temperature, and this is from their warehouse, the perspective of them operating their warehouse itself. It has to be between 50 to 100. It has to be able to maintain and withstand a temperature while it's being inventoried and stays in their warehouse. It has to be able to withstand 50 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? 50 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, with that being said, of course, 100 degrees is obviously extremely hot. There's not a lot of chocolate items, certain types of candies, if it's chocolate coated, and those types of things, even when it comes to nuts that are coated in chocolate, dark chocolate almonds and those types of things, you don't want to send those in because, again, that is something that's on the outside. That chocolate could be potentially melting or could degrade the quality of the product too. Maybe not necessarily melting, but maybe on the outside of it, it begins to discolor due to the temperature. There's a lot of variables, okay? So anything, as Amazon puts it, anything could adversely affect the quality of the product. They don't want to take a chance on it. So just stay away from that. That is why, actually, to give you a heads up, my company, we sell a tremendous amount of chocolate-covered Oreos and chocolate-covered pretzels. Now, I don't FBA those at all. I simply take those products. Those are items that we offer directly to the customer and are only made fresh. When the order is placed, we immediately make the product, but I pack them with a ridiculous amount of ice, and I use a 2-day shipping method, so it's within a very short window of transit, okay? Amazon's not going to get into that. They're not going to have people set up ice packs and all that to ship out a couple pounds of chocolate pretzel rods. So keep this in mind. If you have a large variety of products, there is really a time and season for everything. And you want to be aware of that, and you want to keep that in mind, that during obviously hot summer times, we actually, because I know how to actually pack the products properly, we go ahead and we actually offer these year-round. I do not stop offering any of my products. I just keep loading it with ice. And what I do is I actually work the price of our ice packs into our retail pricing, so we do recoup that. Many of the items on Amazon, we actually offer free shipping on almost all of our items. But when it comes to the ice packs and those types of things, we incorporate that into your costs, and that's just normal business practice. You got to keep that in mind. So, and it only makes sense. You don't want to be giving out, we go through probably 600 or 700 ice packs, and these are really tiny ones. And we put these, they're about 3 to 4 ounce ice packs, and we put them into the boxes with chocolate items, but anywhere from 600 to 700, several hundred of them in a very short summer span time, only about 3 or 4 months. And going into September, actually, believe it or not, we begin to wean off of that, and we don't add those anymore. We do not no longer add those during the September-October timeframe, and then of course through fall and winter. So just keep this in mind. These are some super important things to know if you are planning on FBAing some of your products. And it doesn't have to be candy. If it's any type of food product that has the potential to get damaged during the heat or during a transit time in the summer, I'd just stay away from it. If you have your shop open on Amazon and you're not FBAing those items, just offer them to your customers and you ship them. Add a couple ice packs, call it a day. You make a sale, the customer gets happy, everyone makes money. So I hope those few tips, 1, 2, 3, I had a little board over here with some notes, about 5 of them I gave you. I hope they help you to understand what is permissible and what is allowed and what's not allowed. This is a very short list. I'm actually going to do several other videos, and I'll talk more about other products that are allowed and not allowed that are not necessarily food products. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. If this was very, very helpful to you, give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down. That is fine. Ask me any questions down below, as you know, and I will definitely get to them as soon as I can. And I thank all the subscribers who are now on Marketing Food Online 2. I have been able to work with now, we are up to almost a dozen companies that have reached out for additional assistance. And remember, it is only $12.99 a month, and you can keep it going as long as you want. You can do a couple months, or you can do it forever. I'm here to help, and that's why my videos are on YouTube. Thank you guys, and have a good one.